I can just erase it on way with no what if. This will be with outside part of the Sonic, Shadow, Silver, and Blaze. Well, that's how we left off at. He finished the first attack on the Clover Kingdom from the Eye of the Midnight Sun. After that, he gets teleported by the Eye of the Midnight Sun, but fights them off until Wizard Key comes around. That'll be it for Asta's recap. Now let's quickly go to Yuno. Basically, the same thing happens, but when it came to sensing mana like he did in the show, while he was sensing it, he felt an immense power like right around him, like smothering him, basically looking around. But instead of focusing on it, he basically attacks the witch and defeats her. And once he's done sensing all of that, he basically wonders what it is, and he tries to sense it again, pulls it out with his wind magic, and sees that it's one of the gems that Asta gave him. Now for he barely used the time stone. When it comes to sensing the power of the time stones, he barely sensed the surface of it. When it comes to if someone tries to take it from him or Asta took it back, he cannot literally sense it where they are. He was drawing on his power, and it was right up to him, literally in his pocket. So that's how he was able to at least sense it and draw upon the power. Alright, so after the attack, we cut to a few days. Asta and Noel begins to walk through the Clover Kingdom until Yuno attacks Asta, testing his reflexes. Asta throws his second sword through his attack. Before Yuno can stop the blade, Asta grabs it and puts it on Yuno's shoulder. Asta looks at Yuno and tells him, really? Yuno tells him, well, I can see that your reflexes had not gotten rusty. Anyway, Asta puts his hand on Yuno's shoulder, tells him, I gotta talk to you real quick, and Asta teleports them into a random location, telling Yuno that he should only use the time stones. He's not gonna tell them what they are, but he tells him to only use the stone during a dire situation, meaning you're fighting the enemy, not me or anybody else. Because if the royals figure out what that is and what it can really do, they won't stop throwing bullshit at you until they basically remove the stones from you or either kill you to get the stones. Trust me, they'll try something. Yuno tells him sure, but Asta puts his hand on his shoulder again, but Asta grabs Yuno's shoulder tighter, telling him, trust me, they will try. Don't let them figure out what it is. Yuno sees how serious he is, so he tells him, alright, but wait a minute, how come you're not going to tell me what it is and how to use it? Asta looks at him and tells him that's for me to know and for you to find out, so good luck. After they're done talking, they basically go their separate ways. A few days have passed and Asta has been training his fire and psychokinesis with his sword, trying to make a fire construct strong enough to hold his Demon Slayer sword, while using his psychokinesis to hold his other sword. While Asta holding his other sword, he gets to try to wonder what to use to craft with it, because he knows that Noel can't really use magic. And just like in a fight, he don't want his teammates to waste magic just to get there. Asta wants to make something for his teammates, that way if he wants to fly, he can just jump upon it and use his psychokinesis on that and just take to the sky. But he has no idea what he needs to make, so he just gets frustrated and just decides to just dual wield with fire and psychokinesis, just focusing on fighting with it. Until Finro comes around and asks Asta, hey, do you want to come to a get-together with me? I'm taking luck with us too. Asta basically looks at him and tells him, maybe, it depends. What can be used for transportation without magic? Finro looks at Asta confused for 5 seconds until he basically tells him, you mean a carriage? You know, the one they use for horses? Asta looks at him in disappointment and slaps himself in the head, telling him, why not think of that? Asta looks at him and tells him, alright, change of plan. I'll go with you and even take us there if you're able to help me find a very strong carriage. Finro looks at Asta confused, telling him, why do you need a carriage? You can literally just fly and teleport. In fact, why do you want a carriage? I can literally just take us anywhere. Asta basically looks at him and tells him, oh, I guess you don't want me to go then. I guess I just go find one of my own. He basically panics and tells him, alright. Asta smiles and tells him, great, let's go. After saying that, Asta grabs his arm and takes him to the capital. They basically go around asking for a carriage and how strong the carriage can be. After basically done, Asta points out a carriage that he wants. Asta sees that the carriage is a little too expensive and begins to basically complain and just decides to look around until the owner looks around and sees that it's the person that saved him at the capital. Basically telling you, hey, you're that magic knight who saved me. Asta looks at the owner and tells him, oh, you're welcome. The person basically says, you can get this carriage for free if you want. Asta is surprised but tells him, no, I feel bad for just taking it. I'll just Usually you can give me a discount instead. They both agree on a certain amount and they take the carriage and go. Now, when it comes to the events of the mixer, everything happens as in canon. When it comes to them going back to Rebecca's place, but when it comes to the event of her going back home, Asta asks her, "Do you want to ride?" and points to the carriage. She basically hops in and asks, "Wait, where are the horses?" Asta said, "What horses?" Grabs onto the carriage and runs. Once they get to Rebecca's place, the kids come out, basically want to see their older sister. And so the other kids from the orphanage begin to come out and sees Asta, wondering what's he doing here. Asta just saying he was just dropping her off, and the kids just want to play with him. So he uses his psychokinesis to pick them up, making them think they can fly. Now, when it comes towards the event of when Ghost comes around, it still happens the same. Instead of Asta just dodging at random, he just uses his psychokinesis to push it away from him. Not enough to just redirect it completely, just enough to push it away, just grazing his hair. Now, when they ask him to stay, he agrees. He eats, they talk with him a little bit, and then he goes to sleep. A few hours later, Asta has a bad feeling and his ear starts twitching, wondering why does he have this bad feeling. When he looks around, he sees a mirror right there. The mirror tries to shoot Asta, but he dodges out of the way, rolling on the other side of the bed where the window is, and uses his legs and kicks it, throwing the bed at the person who attacked him. But when Asta gets up, he looks out the window and sees that it's snowing. Asta opens the window just to jump out of it, just to see people worried and complaining about where their children are. Asta's confused until Rebecca comes out and tells them that her siblings are gone. The old nun comes out and tells them that the other kids are missing as well. Ghost, after hearing that, realizing that Maria's gone, and goes over to the old nun and begins to belittle her. Instead of Asta just rushing over there, he begins to think and grabs Ghost's shoulder and tells him that apparently you don't care about your sister since you're too busy complaining about why she's missing instead of figuring out where she is. He looks at Asta and tells her, "How dare you say that? My sister Maria had one of my mirrors, so I at least know where it is or where they're taking them." Asta tells him, "All right then, you go ahead and I'll catch up." After hearing that, Ghost grabs her broom and flies off. The nun's about to get ready to fly off as well until Asta tells her to just get in. She looks around and sees that Asta's holding a carriage. She looks at Asta confused for a few seconds but gets inside anyway. After that, Asta sees where Ghost is flying off to and heads off in that direction. While Asta is catching up to Ghost, he decides to increase his speed, basically making a boost aura around him like Sonic does in most of his games, while also putting fire around it to make it much more easier for him to run so he won't step on anything or anyone important, and to also make a path so other people can find out when backup comes. While Asta's running, he sees that there's one child in the snow and gets to run a little faster. He gets close enough and sees that it's one of Rebecca's siblings. The old nun tells Asta someone using his magic on him to basically put him in a trance like this. So Asta charges up a little bit of anti-magic and psychokinesis and just flickers it around the child, getting him out of the trance and putting him in the carriage with them. Once he's inside the carriage, Asta decides to go faster while putting out more fire. And then once they get into the cave, Ghost grabs Marie and tries to flee until Asta grabs him and tells him, "You better help out, or I'm telling the rest of the Black Bulls, Captain Yami, even the Wizard King. So I suggest you either help out and put the kids in the carriage." When Ghost looks at Asta while he's saying that, he sees that there's fire in his hands and begins to creep up his arms, while there's blue and gray electricity flowing around him. When they're putting him inside the carriage, two of the people that tried to kidnap them tried to stop them, but Asta just grabbed them with a psychokinesis and just slammed them into the wall and the ceiling repeatedly, just enough to knock them both out. Asta goes and the nun gets the kids all into the carriage and about to get ready to run. Until someone shoots a light beam at Asta, but Ghost reflects it with one of his mirrors. Asta looks at Ghost and looks back at the person that shot him, seeing the person that attacked him and the Wizard King. So before anyone can do anything else, Asta grabs the carriage and teleports it outside, including with the kids and the nun. He teleports them all back into the village and goes right back, drops them off and goes right back into the fight. This person knows that Asta is very dangerous when it comes to speed. He might be equal to his magic or even faster than it, so he starts to blind Asta. But Ghost uses his mirrors to stop some of his attacks while also helping out Asta. They keep going back and forth until Asta charges a chaos spear behind the mirror, giving it more power and shooting it so fast that the person couldn't actually see it, taking out a big chunk of the person's shoulder. Unbeknownst to them, backup has arrived for both sides. the Third Eye, and Captain Yami. Yami gets ready to cover up Asta and Ghost while the Third Eye gets ready to attack. While that's happening, he begins to ask what happened and they explain everything. While that's happening, Asta gets an idea and begins to rev up as fast as he can, doing a figure 8 on the ground. They about to get ready to throw a fireball, but Asta throws his sword right through the fireball to give Ghost a chance to shoot her. While Ghost is doing that, Asta is rushing towards the physically strongest person in that room with a Demon Slayer sword right towards them. While that's happening, Captain Yami is taking on the leader with his light magic and the person that can copy magic as well. Captain Yami is somewhat struggling. Ghost is having a hard time, so Asta decides to help out a little bit, using a demon dueler sword and picking up with a psychokinesis just to throw it around, just in case the attack looks too dangerous. While slashing her attacks, while Asta's fighting the physically strongest member of the Third Eye's team. Asta is about to get ready to rush him again, but decides to try something new. And while he's about to ready to do an upper slash, the person ready to try to stop his blade. Asta, swinging his blade with one hand, gets ready for the person to catch it. And when they do, Asta charges a Chaos Spear with his other hand and throws it into the person's side. Which person grunts, Asta tries to swing his blade down again. The person still stops it again. But once that person stops Asta's blade, he uses his psychokinesis to rip the hole open, making it bigger. Asta getting close to the person, jumping on them, and using them as a springboard. Grabbing a demon dueler sword and throwing it at the Iron Midnight Sun leader. Throwing it into his shoulder. The Iron Midnight Sun leader grunting in pain until he looks at the sword that's lodged in the shoulder. And looks at Asta's grimoire, asking him, where'd you get this sword? Where'd you get this book? They do not belong to you. Asta pulls his sword back with the psychokinesis, tells him finders keepers. Once that happens, he begins to freak out and his magic begins to leak. The Third Eye sees this happening and begins to send him away and uses another member to teleport them out of here. Yami tells them, well, it's time for us to go. Asta agrees but tells him, wait, I gotta go get something. Asta decides to run back to where he dropped the carriage off and he sees the kids talking with their parents. And you see Rebecca with her siblings. Asta runs up to her and asks her, so how are your siblings? She tells them they're okay and thanks him by kissing him on the cheek. Noah sees this and freaks out. And Asta looks at her and wondering, wait a minute, what are you doing here? Matter of fact, how did you even get here? She tells Asta, well, I had to make sure you three idiots didn't do anything stupid, especially you. So, when the kids basically left, I decided to call the Magic Knight for backup. Asta tells her, besides calling the Magic Knight, she definitely is lying. Even though it's a good lie, it's still a lie, though. Asta quickly thinks that she might have feelings for him, since the fact that she freaked out when another girl kissed him. But Asta decides to push that all aside, tells her, well, thanks for that, and grabs the carriage and tells her to hop in.